In the previous lesson, we were rendering icons in the navigation bar by using Vue directive. But for our case, there is also another way, which is more compact, which will do the same thing. And we are going to implement this approach right now. Let's go back to the main component app.vue, scroll down to the place where we render icons. And here, what we are gonna do this time is use special Vue component called component. This is so-called dynamic component, which accepts component name in its attribute is that should be rendered in the place of this dynamic component. And since we're gonna need to render icons here, let's specify one of the icons name, clock icon, and also right here we can specify additional classes for this icon. We'll use classes for height and width, but component name clock icon isn't actually a string. It is a component object which we have imported right here. So we have to dynamically bind this JavaScript value to the attribute is. And to do so in Vue, we use vbind directive, or its shorthand form, by using colon. And now if we're gonna take a look in the browser, we're gonna see that exact same icon was rendered 3 times, because we had 3 loop iterations. Let's fix that, but before we're gonna use interpolation in here and print correct page name by using curly braces. And now inside of this is attribute, we have to specify the value, which will be different on every loop iteration. For this we're gonna use icon variable, and then let's change data structure that is stored inside of this navItems variable. Right now it contains basic JavaScript array, but for our current needs, we're gonna replace it with object, where every key will be a page name, and the corresponding value will be icon component. And this way we're going to have a mapping between page names and their corresponding icons. And thankfully, Vue directive in Vue also allows us to iterate over object properties. The first variable here will store value of the particular key of the objects that we iterate over. And as a second value, we can also specify key itself, which in our case corresponds to page names. And now on every loop iteration, we're gonna have access to the page name and its corresponding icon that we have to render inside of navbar. And as you can see in the browser, we got exact same result as before. All 3 navbar icons have been properly rendered. And also local variable navItems, which is inside of app component, now contains an object. And our current solution now, by using dynamic component, contains only 1 line, versus the previous solution, which had 3. Let's remove the previous solution and continue in the next lesson.